Hi guys, my name is Segun Odejimi and I'm a copywriter, and this is the process behind the writing of the Igboro ad for the Airtel Smart Talk campaign. Okay, so getting the idea, of course, because I'm a copywriter for Noazak, and Noazak is the company that is charged with producing ads for Airtel Nigeria. So because of that, and Airtel needs to run this campaign about this smart talk, where basically the idea is to ask customers to free their mind based on this new smart talk plan, where they don't have to, worry about their credit use, you understand, and so on and so forth. So because of that, they needed to come up with that campaign. So there's a brief saying that, okay, this is the kind of campaign we want to run. This is what we want to communicate to our customers. This is what we want to sell. So it's like a sell. And then our job is to sit down and think about how we can communicate what these people want to communicate creatively, so as to, boost, of course, sales, boost awareness, and of course, successfully communicate what we need to communicate to the customers. So for this particular one we are discussing here, which is a mechanic ad, so we came up with, those who are car owners will relate to this. Even those who are not car owners, who probably have brothers or sisters or wives or husbands who are car owners, will relate to the fact that here in Nigeria, we try to be, be uptight with mechanics, because there's this thinking that, okay, you cannot be too, relaxed with your mechanic. You have to, prompt them, you have to be around them. And then we are now trying to even take this a notch higher to someone who has trust issues. So someone who has trust issues will definitely find it difficult trusting his mechanic or his tailor or whoever it is who is providing that service. Will find it difficult trusting that person with that work. So we show a guy who has trust issues and his mechanic needs to work on his car because, of course, the car has some fault. He needs to get spare parts in the market, and rather than just probably giving him the money, okay, how much is it going to cost, go and get the spare parts and work on the car, he's like, no, I have to go with you to the spare parts market because I don't trust you enough to allow you go alone, because you might actually end up cheating me. So while the mechanic is trying to make negotiation, we see this guy under the rain, just suffering himself because he does not have trust issues, which we are trying to communicate. And then after that, he gets back to the mechanic workshop, and while the mechanic is working, probably you are supposed to go face other things, go to work or go home and rest or whatever it is, we see him with the manual of the car, following the mechanic around and trying to tell him that, okay, this. So it was just a process where I asked myself, after we had agreed on these analogies, the whole room, the other copywriters, the art directors, everybody in the room, the strategy guys, when we have agreed on these analogies, so it is then divided, shared amongst the writers. Okay, you write this, you write this, you write this. So at the end of the day, we turn in like a lot of writings, and then we share with clients, and clients say, okay, I like this. So when I was writing for that mechanic ad, I was thinking, what are the best ways to pass across the message of someone who is not trusting as regards the mechanic? So that's why you see someone, the car owner, following the mechanic to the spare parts market, holding the manual at the mechanic workshop, telling him, you have to do it this way, you have to fix this. If you knew all the work, why not just do it yourself? So we are trying to take it much higher, like a satire, saying that this is someone who does not trust enough. And then because of this plan that Airtel is offering, you can now trust more. You don't have to, think about hidden charges or something, because there are times when you make calls and then at the end of the day, you don't know how much you have spent because there are hidden charges that you probably do not know. But we are saying this is a plan that gives you total peace of mind. You don't have to bother about hidden charges and all that. So that was how that came about. So when we share with clients and clients think, okay, we like this, we need you to tweak here, do this and do that. So we go back again. So this process, going back, even within the team, before we even share with our bosses, it could take 1, 2, 3 days because there's an over and over again, and then we share with our creative director. The creative director says, make this tweak. Sometimes we even invite these people into the room and we brainstorm this process together because, we need everybody's alignment on this. And then, but if they are not in the room, we share with them and then we come to the conclusion where we know that, okay, the clients ourselves with the clients, we are okay with what we are about to put out. And then the next thing is we sign up on the project and we go into the process of shooting full. So for those who are aware of the Smart Talk campaign, there were several ads in it. There was the mechanic ad, there was the Twale ad, there was the one with the bull, and then there was a guy when he was not trusting and he was making use of 2 seat belts in the car. So we also tried to show with this campaign that before you get on the Smart Talk plan, this is how you behave. You have trust issues, you don't trust. But after you get on the plan, you become trusting and you can free your mind and you can enjoy life as you should. So the mechanic was the metaphor for before you free your mind. And then Twali, for example, was a metaphor for after you free your mind. For the mechanic metaphor, you now have the Twale metaphor where you see him go to where there are area boys and codes, and he's so trusting that he can leave his car to go to eat and even not lock the door because he's trusting with these guys. And then comes back out, he sees that they're washing the car, and even his friend who was initially skeptical and all that. So that's the process. So it's more or less thinking about how you can relate to the audience, because you do not want your message to be missed as regards the people you are communicating to. So you have to think about these people, what resonates with them, what are you trying to sell? If I'm trying to sell water, for example, I cannot go sell water to someone who is, lives in front of a beach. So it's that process where, as a writer, you have to think of how you can communicate messages effectively without boring your audience, because that's also important. You cannot tell a successful story if you end up boring your audience. It wasn't too difficult scripting for me. It wasn't difficult writing not because I'm a genius or I automatically know the things I need to write and all that, but because it's in the brainstorming session, when you brainstorm with other people in the room, when there are other people there who are probably your bosses and your colleagues and so on and so forth, everybody brings an idea into the table. So even for the mechanic ad, there are people who say, okay, this is a reality that, because I use a car, I have a mechanic who I cannot trust. This is a reality that I have. So I think this reality will also work. So you put everything down. So it's now your job as a copywriter to just go with everything and then write out that draft. So it is usually not an extremely difficult process. It is, of course, yes, that you have to bring everything together and also have to, use your skills as a writer to finesse everything and come out with that first draft. But it is not a too long drawn out. It's not a too difficult process because everything is broken down into bits. Everything is broken down into bits, and then you can tap into the experiences and the ideas of all other people, your colleagues who are working on that project together. So at the end of the day, you just see that by the time you have all the ideas together, just scripting out that first draft doesn't take more than, say, 2-3 days to do, because you already know where you're going to. And sometimes it could be shorter. And then sometimes, so it all depends. But for this particular one, I think the first draft was ready in about 3 days after we had already agreed on what we wanted to do. So we had that out. And then, of course, there were rewritings, and you have to go back and rewrite and tweak this, remove this, add this. But that's a process that, of course, you have to come to expect when you are trying to turn out something creative.